People love the Zack Snyder movie. They love the Zack Snyder Man of Steel, and over the years, we realized that while Zack Snyder was like one of the greatest things that happened to the comic book industry, at least for a Marvel, for a DC fan, it's not translating well as at that time. Because now you can look at the audience score. The audience loved the first Man of Steel 7.1, and when you go to um voting tomatoes, let's check. It's going to okay. So it's ranking. Okay, yeah, this is the critics themselves. They hated it. Now that was the dilemma Warner Brothers was facing. Now the Man of Steel, obviously, compared to the first MCU movie, this one still had like the ratio was still a bit higher. So you can say that this particular stuff was okay compared to the one Marvel was on about. So obviously there was something that the business they saw themselves. That was Warner Brothers at the time. They saw something that they could they were like there was a way forward for them as a business. So what did they do? They told Zack Snyder, "Yo, can you build a universe with this thing?" And he was like, "Let's see, I can do something." Now that's where their problem um starts falling apart because on social media, I just lost my rice. Anyway, I had to clear the plate. I don't blame you. What was I saying? On social media, what was I saying? Well, this was the beginning of on social media. I made a critic that about the Man of Steel. Man of Steel was great. I loved the equipment. There were some things that were misunderstood about people that hated it and all that. But Batman vs Superman was like where everything just because how will you start with Man of Steel? Great. People loved it. People want more of it. Then he said, I'm going to bring Batman into this universe. I'm not going to make a Batman movie. I'm not going to do anything related to Batman where we can be teasing Batman little by little. But we're just going to bring him to Batman versus Superman. I said on my social media that Batman versus Superman was too dark. Man of Steel was dark. In fact, the entire DCU was a bit dark, and it took them a while before they had to get themselves. Because you're seeing the metal score of Man of Steel with 55, Batman vs Superman with 44. The audience is 7.1, Batman vs Superman is 6.4. Batman vs Superman was a big mistake. Everyone knows it. You don't, there's no glazing or hating or anything when it comes to saying the truth about Batman vs Superman. It was it's all kind of wrong, especially when you are trying to build something that people want to gravitate towards. The DC fans want the DC things, and you created this hype about the greatest thing in the universe, which is Batman and Superman coming together and to fight each other. What was word finance? You could have done word finance. But no, my Superman um is a Superman that if he let go, if he doesn't control his emotion, the entire world can destroy. You built up that thing. We've known that. Then The fight scenes with Batman, it made no sense. The Batman, the way Batman was, this was stop killing, because that was something that I complained about. This is not the Batman I was familiar with, the Batman that I know. And I know that there was something that can be done with Batman. I know that there's a story that can be made with Batman. But all of a sudden, they decide that no, we're not going to go that route. We're going to go the route where our Batman is dark, our Batman is the kind of Batman that sees the world for it is. And that's there's always problem with the world. And they pass that same message in Man of Steel, the same message they want to pass with Batman, the Batman versus Superman. And when you say there's something wrong with the world, you show that Batman was the wrong thing in the world, because the thing Batman was doing was still of murder. You're tattooing people like animals. Oh, you caught criminal. I'm going to put a tattoo. Let people know that Batman caught this criminal. And then people go into the jail, they beat him, and they kill the criminal. And somehow it's not Batman's fault, but it's the fault that the guy was actually a criminal. Like it made no sense. The next thing they decided to do was the Suicide Squad. Now, Suicide Squad, later down the road, realized that Suicide Squad had a lot of problems. The Suicide Squad was the next thing they tried to do, and Suicide Squad, we found later on that it had a lot of studio interference, which was weird and which was annoying. Then they released Justice League. I'm sorry, Wonder Woman, which Wonder Woman was great. It made a lot of money, and they tried to release Justice League with the first one, which we know that it wasn't really Zack Snyder as a director. It was another person they added as director. After there was this incident with Zack Snyder, and they released Aquaman, which was also okay, made a billion. Then Shazam, I think a billion. Modern Woman 94, everything started going down. The Batman wasn't DCEU, it was actually a new sword different. Batgirl was never released. Black Adam was a bit weird by what's his name? Um The Rock tried to come in and try to change the entire system of this thing. Personally, I do love it. The Flash also was was not okay visually, but I believe personally the truth is that personally I do love everything. I love everything, every single thing when it comes to it. But I have some complaints about every single one of them. The last one was now Aquaman. So Superman is now where James Gunn is starting his own thing. And sorry, I'm going to have to point my pass my points across as fast as I can. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't really matter whether or not you do love James Gunn or you hate James Gunn or you find James Gunn as the best thing that ever happened that the best thing that ever happened in life or the worst thing that ever happened in life. It doesn't really matter. As a DC fan, I do believe that you should love, or in a way you should hope for a great Superman, because Superman in itself, this movie is something to be excited for. Now, you might want to complain that oh there's this, there's that, there's that. As a fan, it's something that see you try, just look at it before putting your own judgments and your own biases against it. Now, you are someone who wants to check out. I don't want to waste money on. I only have one money to spend to watch one movie per week, or one movie per month, or two movies per week, depending on what it is they are doing. I believe that Aside from when you look out away from the nitpicking and the fact that, oh, um this is this thing is this thing is that, this thing is that, whatever it is. I believe that there's still potential in Superman, because personally I love everything that they are putting out. They are putting out a Superman that speaks to a new generation, and this is something that you have to understand. You grew up, you love this particular medium, this comic book thing, because of something, whether it is the Justice League animated series, or it is the comics themselves, or it is a particular movie. There was something about it that made you love it. This Superman is, like I said, the legacy. It's an homage to everything that has happened in the past, and something that the new generation can look forward to. Because whether or not you love it or not, at a particular point you're going to grow old, and at that time you realize that if you had loved things more, it would have made more sense. Doesn't necessarily, that's why I keep trying to say I do not have stake in this thing, whether it becomes the best in the world or it becomes the worst thing in the world. I'm not a stakeholder of Warner Brothers. I'm not a stakeholder of anything. What I'm a stakeholder is myself and my family. So I'm going to go to the cinema. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to hope for the best. Now, you can go ahead and you can say that you are this, you are that, that's your problem. I say in Nigeria. And I do. If only if you want, if you don't want me to be you want me to be a shield of yourself. You know what to do. If not, I'm a DC fan and I want the best for DC, so I'm just going to go to Superman. I'm going to try as much as possible. If there's a complaint and everything, I will definitely give you my art of theater review, because when I go see it, I'm going to try my best to go with a friend. And if I can't go with a friend, I'm just going to go with my microphone, place it on a particular wall, and tell you what I think immediately, then I don't give you my full breakdown. Now, has there been something that I don't like? There has been, like, a lot, but that doesn't want to going about to making this thing like it's my entire life. Now I get some people, they are YouTubers and it's their career and it's everything. That's on you. That's your problem. I do believe that just everybody should calm down, relax. Not everything requires you shouting and crying and going on the internet and going, oh, it's the best in the world, the worst in the world. Fantastic Four. I I'm not interested in it. Maybe if I have extra money to spare, I can go and watch Fantastic Four. But you don't see me going about and saying, oh, this beard does the beard that they gave the thing doesn't make sense. This particular frame of this particular seconds doesn't make sense. When you go on Streamdorm, you will see this news. We post the news, we post what we see. Yeah, we don't give our personal opinions on this. This is the only just I can give my personal opinion, which is on the YouTube. When I have time to write opinion-based article, I write opinion-based article. But for a while, I won't be writing articles like that. I tried my newsletter. I was able to post one newsletter for the past season. So, by the way, you guys subscribe to our newsletter at stream.com. You'll see the form and everything. Just fill the form and you'll be able to subscribe to our newsletter. So, opinion based articles, I'm not doing that. However, what I would say is that comic book movie, this year has been rubbish for every single project, every single comic book movie. Now, of course, it's an overstatement and exaggeration, obviously. But I would say that there was a lot of wasted potentials, and you could see that the politics in the real world came to play. Now, it doesn't matter whether or not my politics won or your politics won. This is why I keep saying I'm in Nigeria. We practice multi-party system. So it doesn't really matter if you're in this particular side or this particular side. There should just be a side that benefits you, and that's the party you vote for. That's why that's the benefit of multi-party system. That the problem with the issue I have with American politics is that it's just two-party system. So it's either you're for this or you're for that. And even though this guy has a good point, because this guy is part of this guy, everything that is this guy say is a bad thing. This guy it doesn't make sense. But I'm just going to say that a lot of things was wrong with comic book movies this year, and only a few things outside of Marvel and DC, Invisible is a great mention, Anime is a great mention. They saved comic books or they saved manga. In fact, they saved graphic novels adaptation in general. DC only has Superman this year. So if Superman comes out to be the greatest thing ever for this year, it has to become big. Now, I'm not putting any pressure on anybody saying it has to make this. My expectation, not even a prediction, my expectation that I would say that James Gunn tried. At least is able to build something off, is able to start a universe is 800 at maximum. Now, all those drawing goggles, trying to that's you guys' problem. That's your fan problem. I would say that I expect 800. For Fantastic Four, I'm not going to say my expectation because I already have my bias against the movie. But I want both movies to succeed. At least succeed enough to make people say that the issue was the stories, not the fact that people are tired. I don't like the people are tired, people are having comic book card fatigue. It makes no sense. I don't think on a well, there are a lot of movies people prefer, but personally, I would go with comic book movies. And in fact, I'll go with sci-fi and superhero stuff any day, anytime. Compared to watching the real life romance. All less now watching romance. I'll pay for movies. I'll pay tickets to go and watch romance on theaters. The only movie that I paid ticket for this year was Jennifer. Though it has a romantic touch, but it was more of comedy. They're telling me I should go and watch the materialist with my money. One movie per month. It made no sense. So I would say this for people is that wherever you stand, whatever you choose to do, just to make sure that you don't make this thing your personality. Now, whether or not you make money of it, that's a different topic. But don't go about saying that I want this thing to become the worst thing ever. I pray this thing is the bad, or go about and say that, oh, I pray this thing is great. This thing is going to save my life. Calm down, calm down. You are not the executive. You're not making money off it. Now, it does good. It does good. It makes the box office ranking. It makes it possible, and that's a different thing. But please let child responsible to calm down when it comes to addressing stuff like that.